Today, we're talking about components that deliver visual greatness to our computer monitors. I'm talking graphics cards, better known as GPUs. And in this video, we'll cover the must-knows when shopping for one. Let's get to it. Ever played a game on your computer and the quality was, rough? Stuttering screen, picture glitching, or maybe you're working on graphics, 3D model, things are taking forever to load. Well, if that's you, your GPU might be getting overworked, meaning it's time for an upgrade. And here's why. Imagine your computer is a business with different departments. Some have a single department doing many things. Imagine trying to write an email, give a presentation, calculate payroll, and interview someone at the same time. This is called an integrated graphics card, and since it's constantly multitasking, it's not ideal for heavy visual lifts, like those involved with video editing and gaming. Separating the departments, allowing them to focus on a specific task with their own resources, increases performance. And that's what a graphics card is, a dedicated component that's responsible for handling just your graphics. And there are quite a few makes and models. So let's walk through a few things to consider when you're shopping for one. But before you get too excited, let me say this. Most laptops and all-in-one computers have built-in GPUs that are difficult, sometimes impossible, to replace. However, that's usually not the case with desktops. They typically open slots or ports thinking you might need them down the road. Check out this Asus ROG gaming desktop. First, see these connections that are close together, including this HDMI port that's made for a monitor? They're integrated, part of the same department, using the same resources. So again, plenty of multitasking, but not so great for performance. But moving down a bit, I see this, more monitor connections. This means the machine already has a dedicated GPU. I just need to upgrade it. Now, your situation might be different. You might only have blank slots like this, and even though you have an open slot on the outside, it doesn't necessarily mean you have an open connection on the inside. So let's check it out because it's a critical piece of info when you're shopping for a GPU. Of course, you can check the manufacturer's specs to get this info. This is usually easy to find on their site, or if you're comfortable doing it, you can simply disconnect the power and remove the cover, which is what I'll do. This big, complex piece of electronicness is called the motherboard, and this is the GPU. It's an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1660 Ti. Again, if you don't already have a GPU, this component wouldn't be here. And since I want to upgrade mine, I'll remove it. Here you go. Now you can see the connection. It's a PCI Express slot, also known as a PCIe. This is common in most newer computers, and it's the one I'll be using for my new GPU. And speaking of, spoiler alert, I went with this NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060 from MSI. It has some upgrades like 12 gigabytes of memory, better ray tracing, and tensor cores, which are good fit for my needs. But let me explain what I considered when shopping for one. First, think about your budget. What are you hoping to spend? Again, these things can vary in price, so having an idea of where you hope to land financially is a good place to start. Second, look at the software programs you use. Whether that be video editing, 3D modeling, or gaming programs, some call out specific GPUs that work well. They often provide two lists, one with the minimum requirements and one with the recommended requirements. If your wallet allows for it, I'd focus on the recommended list, as that'll give you the best shot of experiencing the software fully. Next, think about space. Will the GPU fit in your case? GPUs can get big. Some even occupy 2 slots, so check the dimensions on the box or website before you buy. Then focus on the RAM. The more memory or RAM the GPU has, the better it's going to perform. Instead of leaning on the computer's RAM, which is already being used heavily by the other components, GPUs often come with their own dedicated RAM. This is helpful with visually demanding applications like games or video editing. Then, make sure it's compatible by checking the connection. Again, if you have a PCIe slot, make sure you get a PCIe card that's compatible. It never hurts to check the manufacturer's info just to make sure. Next, get to know your power supply. This is another component inside the computer, and like GPUs, they can be removed and upgraded. GPUs consume a good amount and often require a dedicated power connection, along with a minimum amount of wattage. For example, a 3000 series GPU might require 170 watts of power. So taking that into consideration, along with the other internal components, the manufacturer might recommend a power supply capable of outputting 550 watts. If the manufacturer doesn't specifically call it out, there are some online calculators that can help you do the math based on your specific components. Then, based on that info, you might need to upgrade your power supply. Since my new GPU requires quite a bit more power, I'm going to upgrade mine to this Corsair CX750M power supply, just to be safe. After you find the right GPU, it's time to install. Of course, if you'd rather have Best Buy's Geek Squad handle this portion, we'll be happy to help. The process varies greatly depending on equipment, but here's a quick overview. Disconnect the power, remove the existing GPU if you haven't already, along with the power supply if necessary, and install the new components. Once the hardware is properly seated and secured, put the case back on. Connect your peripherals along with the power and turn it on. Take some time to install the drivers and updates, and then test it out. Hopefully there's a noticeable difference. And there you have it. Thanks for watching, and check out our channel for more tech tips from Best Buy.